and welcome to the webinar. I'm your moderator, George Zarepsky, and today we have with us our founders, Candace and Mark Perea. Hey, guys.
Morning.
Hello.
All right, today we're going to talk about some of the recent updates, and we're going to do an overview of the app. We've made some refreshments. We've refreshed some of the user interface, cleaned things up a little bit, made it look a little better. So we'll go over that, and then we'll follow up with some security and tech talk from Mark. So without further ado, Candace, let's get into it with some of the recent updates.
Yes. All right. This week we made some, well, actually, I think it was Friday, we actually rolled out some changes to the app. We've got some polish that we put on the home screen, the user screen, and the devices screen. So let's just jump into a little demo of that. And hopefully all of this is really intuitive if you've already seen the changes out there. But if you're new and you've just been into the app, you will find that we added on the home screen the users who are paused. And we've added the unpause button on the home screen to make it a one tap to get in there and unpause a user. So,
all right, so I've got Shelly. I'm sorry, I got Shelly here, and quick, these guys have been paused through the user screen, and so right here I've got the green play button, which will unpause them if I want to do it from a quick action without having to dig into the user screen, right?
Right, and so you'll also see the same interaction on the user screen. So if you jump into user, from the user listing, you can pause or unpause a user without having to go into the user detail information.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's a time saver right there. It eliminates like 2 or 3 taps right off the bat.
Right. And then to go in to edit the user, all you have to do is click at the inside of the area where the user name and details is listed. So we used to have an edit button, and the edit button's no longer there. You just tap on the link with the detail name.
Okay, so this is kind of a little bit, actually, this is like it was in one of our first iterations, where you would be able to click on that whole row before we had the pause or edit button, and that would get you into the menu for that user. So it's kind of that same interface again, which is pretty good. It's a large area to tap on there. So just wherever the writing is, right around in that area, tap there, and it takes me right in. Cool.
Great. So
George, if you go back to the home screen, maybe we can preempt some questions here. You know, I noticed that it says paused users, and then it also says paused devices. Either of you guys want to talk about maybe why I would want to unpause some devices or use that instead of users?
Yeah, I think I can muddy that up, and then when I'm done, Candace, if you can clean up the muddy waters for me. So we've got pause devices is separate because you may want to unpause just one device. For example, if Shelly has 3 devices, laptop, tablet, maybe an Xbox, I might want to just unpause her laptop so she can do some homework. That in addition with the homework mode to prevent her from playing games on said laptop. So I can do that. I can unpause just that device, but then that user still remains paused in that scenario. And that's useful in case a new device comes back onto the network. It will automatically come on in the pause state instead of being unpaused. And then if I want to unpause all of that user's devices at once, I can just unpause the user, and then everything that was paused will now start to play again. There was a lot of pausing and unpausing. How'd I do, Candace?
Perfect. I really don't have anything to add to that. The device setup is the same as the user setup, where you have the button to pause directly from the device listing rather than going into the device detail. And then again, we've made it really easy that when you get to the home screen, you can see all the paused users and all the paused devices.
Yeah, that's really efficient. That's really clean. I like that. And again, I can tap on that notification to make it disappear. So that's pretty slick too.
Right.
Great work, Candace. I know you're the UI expert here, so great work on all of these UI improvements. It's a lot sleeker. There's no line wrapping. This looks really good. It's really responsive and intuitive.
Awesome.
Well, to me anyway. if anybody out there watching thinks it's not, please let us know, and we'll make sure to take that feedback into consideration.
Right.
All right, go ahead, Candace.
And the one thing I'll add on the user screen, we moved the add user button to down on the page prior to the listing. And the reason for that change is because you'll also notice we added our support chat icon to the upper right of the page. So there again, if you guys find something that isn't working or you have a suggestion on improvement on a page, go ahead and hit us up on the chat and we'll get the message.
So speaking of chat, I'd like to segue right quick into why we moved the add user button down. We want to clear up the space in the upper right so that we can put a persistent chat button. So now you don't have to go to settings and dig further into support and then click the chat button. On every single page now, you have instant access to a chat session with us. And it's as simple as just tapping that little chat icon on the top right. And you'll see the list of conversations that you've had. You can continue a conversation or start a new conversation, or just click the X to get back into the app. And as you'll notice, that chat icon is the exact same one that is on our website in the bottom right corner. So persistent chat all the way through. We're at your disposal anytime you need us. All right. Anything else on UI stuff there, Candace?
I think that wraps up every thing I wanted to cover on app changes in the UI. I'll just mention a couple of things that we're working on. For users accessing our app on the desktop with the Internet Explorer browser, there is a scroll bar issue. So if you don't have a scroll wheel mouse or a touchpad, users have had problems with scrolling. So we're still looking into that. It's kind of a tough one to dig into for us right now. And then, so once we have that updated, we'll let you know.
Do we know if that was the latest version of Internet Explorer or if that was in fact the Edge browser? Because I know a lot of Windows 10 installs have that Edge browser set up by default, and it's still kind of quirky with some things. Do we know for sure which one that is?
I believe it was the Edge version. And that's the trouble with trying to troubleshoot the CSS issues, is because different browsers behave different. And we really made this app for, or made this mobile site for touch screens, such as phones, iPads, and tablets. So it's a bit of a challenge for us to negotiate when somebody's having a desktop issue, because there's so many different versions of the browser. But it's a challenge. We'll keep looking into it and hopefully get it fixed.
Yeah, that's a great point. Just to tap on that a little bit, our design from the ground up has been for mobile use. So we've designed Aerēz and the UI to work from your smart device, your phone, or even tablet. So while you can use it on the desktop or a laptop, the screen really isn't formatted for that size. And that's on purpose. That's a design choice that we made. It simplifies our development. It expedites our improvements and updates. So we do intend for people to use it on a mobile device at app.aerēz.net. And so we have our native app live where you can download it from the store. But if you are on a laptop or desktop and you want to get access to the app, you can do so by going to app.aerēz.net there as well. So that will be there for some time to come. That will be an option. Depending on how much usage we get on desktop, will kind of drive if we try to do a new UI for the desktop. But right now, our focus is strictly on the mobile interface for right now, just so everybody is aware of that.
If you want full functionality and full usability on your PC or desktop, then just make sure you got a scrolling mouse with a scroll wheel on it, and you should be fine. Because even without the scroll bar being present at the side of the browser, as long as you have a scrolling device, it's still totally usable. Yeah,
that's a great point, Mark. Thanks for bringing that up. Also, if there's a lot of laptops nowadays, and even some monitors that are touchscreen. So if you have that, you should be able to tap and scroll that screen up and down as well. All right, Candace, what else do you have for us?
We're still working on a couple of new features coming hopefully this week yet. We're working on your history, browsing history per device, and broadband usage. And then we are making a pricing model change in April because we're releasing some additional advanced features, such as the history and usage, that we're going to be going to a subscription service. So we have just like 2 more days that we're selling it at the straight $99, and that grandfathers you in so you don't have the subscription service. So if you are a current Aerēz user and you know somebody who's interested, tell them, get it in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so traction is definitely being applied on that. I've seen some increase in sales the past few days, so people are definitely taking advantage of that. We recommend everybody take advantage of it, and then after the first, everybody that's got Aerēz today or by the first will be grandfathered into that package and not have to pay the subscription fee. But that being said, I just have to reiterate that this subscription-based service is because we're wanting, or this change to a subscription format is because we're providing a lot of service now. We're going to be providing a lot more information for our users. And, you know, it costs money to run those servers and provide that information. So we're definitely going to make it a value add. And again, as always, we look forward to your feedback for that. But Candace, before we go a little further, I wanted to talk a little bit about that usage screen because we did get some feedback. Speaking of feedback, and let me just transition over here to the app view.
While you're doing that, let me clarify just for a moment that anybody who, like you say, grandfathered in, but in addition, anybody who purchases in the future, the core functionality of Aerēz that's there today will be included without the subscription. And the premium features will be the subscription service. And we'll be outlining those as we transition to the subscription service. But the majority of what Aerēz is right now is what it will continue to be for the one-time fee.
Okay, great. That's a good point there, Mark. Thanks for bringing that up. So we will still be providing it as it is today going forward. And then for those that want to upgrade to that subscription-based service, they can do so. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So yeah, I just want to talk real quickly on the usage screen. We did get some feedback on the usage screen, and I'll jump into that real quick. We were told that this interface or this view was a little bit confusing. So this is one of the things that we'll be working on as well, and giving you a centralized location to find out what your devices are doing and when they're doing it and how much of it they're doing. So we'll have that, and then we'll also have it at a device level as well. So when we go to the device tab, you'll see the listing of all the devices, and just like the users, tap anywhere in the center here to go to the detail screen. And as we scroll up, there'll be another link somewhere in here, probably around the port forwarding, that will be a history for that device as well. So that's what some of the advantages of having that subscription service will give you, is that little more granular detail of what everything is doing on the network. All right, Candace, did you have anything else for us for updates?
That's it for updates for me.
Awesome, thanks, Candace. So Mark, let's transition a little bit. Let's get technical. Earlier offline, we were talking a little bit about some of the proposed changes coming down from the top as to how ISPs will be able to control and see what's going on your network. Can you expand on that a little bit for us and talk about how we may be able to do something about that with the Aerēz platform, Mark?
Yeah, sure thing. So I don't have full details because I don't think that things have been fully released yet, but the gist of it is that today there are privacy measures in place by the FCC that say your data should not be collected by your service provider. And if it is collected, they can't sell it to a third party like an advertising agency to, say, hey, you should market this stuff to, me and my name is Mark. Hey, Mark should definitely get an ad for this. That's not allowed today. But if excuse me, got a little catching up on a cold here. If we continue on the path that's currently before us, then I believe an executive order will repeal that requirement, which means that your data, my data, everyone's data that is collected by a service provider becomes fair game to be sold to third parties, like advertisers. We don't really like that. I think there's a lot of people that don't like that. And with the platform that we've built, we're definitely able to do stuff like what's called VPN, virtual private networking, and we can anonymize that data from your ISP's perspective. So given what we're hearing, we're thinking that one of the ways to move forward with Aerēz and provide more value to our customers will be to make an easy button that just says, protect my data from my ISP. And if we do that, we'll be sure to let you know, but we're thinking that's one of the directions we'd like to go. And if you're interested in that, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, that's definitely something that I would be interested in. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is privacy. Some of the competitors or near competitors to Aerēz out there, like Google Wi-Fi, for example, a lot of people are put off because they're not really sure what's going on with the data. And Google's pretty transparent in the fact that they're using all of your data. They're taking metrics and analytics from everything that you're doing. And for some people, that's fine. For me, that's fine. But I'd also like to have the option and the ability to be able to say, no, I want to keep everything private. And I don't want to share it with everyone. So that'd be awesome for me. I would definitely appreciate that. And I can think of a lot of people that would also appreciate that going forward. So that's exciting. That's something to look forward to. Thanks for sharing that with us, Mark. All right. So is there anything else that anyone has that they'd like to speak about? I don't have any other topics right off the top. I'll check the chat logs while you guys think about if you have anything else to say.
I don't think I have anything else to cover this week.
All right, awesome. So this was a quick one, down and dirty, and well done. I want to thank you guys for taking the time today to chat with us. And for anyone that's watching the recorded version of this webinar, if you have some questions, there's some things you want to get more information on, please take advantage of the chat icon in the bottom right of our website, aerez.net, AEREZ.net. And for our current users, like we showed earlier, that chat bubble is now available on every page in the app at the top right. Please just tap it, leave whatever question or feedback that you have, and we will reply to you as soon as possible. And if you're watching the recorded version of this on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll reply there as well. So thank you, Mark and Candace, again for taking the time out to chat.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next week for Webinar Wednesday, 12:30 Central. Bye.